G'day and welcome back to RC Model Reviews. Behold the future of the hobby. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's a bit disappointing, isn't it? No, what have we got in here? Well, what we don't have in here is what was in here. And this is the, what is it? The Gilang, I'll turn it over so you can read it. UFO X-UFO 85X 4K. What does that mean? Well, it's a Cinewhoop. It's a Cinewhoop and it has a 4K camera. In fact, it has the Tarsier, the CadX, is it the CadX Tarsier? No, who does? Oh, anyway, the Tarsier 4K, which I had to fix because it was broken out of the box. I did a video on that. You've probably all seen that. But anyway, I fixed it. I changed the switch. Now it works. And it, you know, I've got to say, the quality is pretty damn good. You'll see that later on in this review. The quality of the 4K is pretty damn good. And there are a few things I don't like, but we'll get onto that in a moment. Obviously, it comes in a bind and fly. This is the FR Sky Futaba. And interesting, it does both because it has the chipset that will do the Futaba FHSS, not fast, it's FHSS for Futaba. You also get it in FlySky, DSM-X. I haven't seen a TBS or the PMP version, but obviously, you know, that's there. H.265 codec, which is really good, means smaller files, but I'll get down to why I think they could have done better later on. Can be used in the rain, apparently, or does that mean can't use it in the rain? I don't know. Anyway, and it's made in, China. Who'd have thought? So there we go. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful everywhere. How do I know that? No, it's not wonderful. It's wonder-rule. In case you can't read it. It's wonder-rule. Wonder-rule everywhere. Yes, now you can tell it's made in China, can't you? I shouldn't make fun of it, but really, seriously, it's kind of funny. And in case you don't know, it even comes with a label showing you which way is up, unless you hold it like that, in which case it's wrong. But there we go. So it comes in this little box. Actually, I do like this because unlike the what was it? I forget the name of it. The other one I reviewed, which was the Freestyle, Mini Hawk, Baby Hawk Freestyle. Yeah, this actually fits in the box with the props and everything on. Here it is. Look, see it there. And what do you get? Obviously, it comes with spare propellers, and I'm not going to go through too much, but you get spare props. You get a little bit of hardware. You get some wrenches and a screwdriver. All useful things to have. Comes with a whole lot of paperwork, documentation, and so forth. In fact, it has the thing for the camera in here. So the CadX Tarsier camera, quick guide, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all the stuff that you probably need to know. And it comes with a battery. Now, I don't know if yours will come with a battery. This one came with a battery. And I've got to say, look at that battery. 260 milliampere hours, 4-cell. Ooh, that is good for about a minute and a half. Really, it's not very good at all. Again, one of the weaker things. But don't worry about that because you can fit a much larger battery. As you can see here, I've got a 650 milliamp battery. There we go, turn up this way so you can see. 650 milliampere hour 4-cell, and it carries it with ease. I won't say it's a punch-out demon, but it can carry a battery that large. So I would say probably 450 to 500 milliamps 4-cell is what you want in this thing. That would be a best match of weight and performance. This is just a little bit too big, but it's all I had. So I used what I had, okay? Yeah, so you can pop the whole thing in there if you're using this battery that's provided or you're not using a battery. It all fits in nicely. Little carry handle. Yeah, finally a carrying case, a hard carrying case that I think is, you know, kind of good. And people will see you walking in the street with the Gilang badge and they will worship the ground you walk on. Honestly, no, they won't. I'm making that up. Here we go. So here is the quad itself. Let's take a closer look at this thing. So I'll give you a bit of a walk around on this thing. It's got 4 motors, 5,000 kV, I think they are. Props with little dainty little dicky tips on there like that's supposed to be more efficient. They're shrouded props like most Cinewhoops, so it's great. You can bang into stuff and you're not going to either break a propeller or hurt anybody. And that's great because on the weekend I was flying around, you know, right around very close to people and no risk to people at all with this quad. This is a zero risk quad, which is great because that's what we need in the era of everyone being a victim and being afraid of themselves, their own shadows. And of course, well under 250 grams. I think it's 115 grams if you use this battery. If you use another battery, well, obviously it's going to depend on the weight of your battery. As you can see at the front, it's got the CadX Tarsier dual lens, dual sensor camera, which is great. So there's no latency or very little latency. And as you will see later on, the picture quality is pretty damn good. Got to say, the Tarsier camera, for all its faults, it does seem to give a pretty damn good picture. But speaking of faults, as I say, this one was bad out of the box. And when I did that video, a lot of people have commented on the quality control of CadX products, saying that they're not that impressed. So yeah, and I must say, CadX did send me some cameras a while ago. I didn't review them because they were broken. One had a broken plastic locking ring on the lens so it wouldn't stay focused. And the other one had a intermittent fault. It would just die occasionally and then come back again. So I thought, these are not review-ready products. And I think other people have had similar problems. So CadX, not the best kind of option. There is something else you might be able to use later on, which I'll show you in an upcoming video. My Patreon supporters have probably already seen what I'm talking about. But yeah, in the meantime, this thing also gets incredibly hot. The camera itself gets really, really hot. And I think that's one of the reasons that this little battery only lasts, less than 2 minutes, is because this camera draws a lot of power. 4K, that requires a lot of processing. And also, especially if you're using the H.265 codec, which produces much smaller files, that also requires a lot more processing power than H.264. So that processing power comes at a cost, and that cost is extra heat production. So yeah, this thing runs hot. Now the video transmitter is adjustable, I think from 25, 100 and 200 milliwatts or something like that. I don't think you really want to use the 200 milliwatt option, for reasons I'll tell you about later, but you can adjust it if you want to. And it's adjustable via smart audio, I think it is, through the flight controller. So, ding, 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 no problem. It's not really difficult. The camera itself's got the little buttons on the side, one of which I had to replace because it was faulty. But the other downside, this is only for me. I'm not a fan of having to use a smartphone to set up your camera on your quad. This comes with a little dongle, little hard dongle you plug in, and it's got the little joystick to adjust some of the camera parameters, but the other parameters require the use of a smartphone with a Wi-Fi connection. It's kind of, doubling up on things. So that's, underneath there's a flight controller and all sorts of other stuff, as you would expect. It comes with an XT30 connector for your battery, so that's pretty stock standard. This one has the FrSky and FHSS compatible receiver. I did have some range issues, but let's face it, at 300 meters or so, this went into failsafe several times. I was quite high, so I saved it, rescued it, flew it back. But obviously it's not designed for long range work. It's designed for relatively close work with really high quality video. So I'm not too concerned about the fact. And what I've done since is I have actually hot glued the little antenna here in a vertical position because it was just hanging out the back where it was being shielded at times by the battery and other things. So I'm hoping this will give more range. I haven't tested it since I did that. I also cable tied the FPV antenna because both these were hanging out the back in parallel and they were not the best orientation. I put the video transmitter antenna up here. That works really well, having it vertical like that. It gives really good video performance. I'm quite happy. And the live video feed, thanks to this little dual sensor camera, is excellent. It's totally excellent. I'm very happy with that as well. What else can I say? That's, I think I've covered most of the bases there. The footage it generates is really good. I've got to say, it's really good. That for all its faults, that Tarsier camera does a really good job. And when I have this bigger battery here with the 650 milliamp, I'm getting about 4 minutes of flight time, which is more than enough to do the kind of footage I want. So I'd say I suspect you'd probably still get 4 minutes with a 500 or 450 battery because it would be lighter. Now, there's a point on the curve where you start adding battery capacity where you actually start getting lower flight times because the weight is too much. And I think it's probably reached that point with the 650. So I'd go back to a 450 or 500. So don't be tempted to buy more of these batteries. You don't want them. They won't last long enough. You'll be forever frustrated recharging and having to land to use your charge battery. There you go. Flight characteristics, it flies quite nicely. It's pretty sedate. It's pretty sedate on the standard settings, which is probably what you want for a Cinewhoop, because you don't want to be doing flips and things. You want to be getting some nice, pretty pictures. I'm going to try and get some more pretty pictures this afternoon, but I've got some shots from the weekend where I was flying around the airfield. Doesn't really tell you that much, but I'll try and get some nice shots of blossoms and things. It's spring in the Southern Hemisphere. That'll be a good test. Now, as I say, future of the hobby. Future of the hobby. Why is that? Well, because it's sub 250 grams. It flies like a big quad. It's cheap. It's very safe. What more could you want? And so I think this is where we're headed in countries where they've got some ridiculous rules. In Canada, you can do anything you like with this damn thing. There's no prescriptive rules. And hopefully that will mean that people can fly these things safely. You're not going to bring down an airliner with this unless you fly it through the cockpit window and the pilot chokes on it. That's the only way you're going to bring down an airliner with one of these. So without further ado, let's roll some flight footage and you can tell me what you think in the comments section below. But would I buy this? Well, yeah, actually, it's not too bad. It's not cheap, but it does have a really capable camera, and if you put the right batteries in it, the flight time is reasonably good. Now, I want to review a whole lot more of these little these little Cinewhoops, because as I say, I'm really excited by them and it's the kind of flying I like to do. This is the first one I've reviewed, so I have no frames of reference, but I would say that this is a pretty good little quad. And I saw it advertised in New Zealand for $470. Really? Seriously? 470 New Zealand dollars? Admittedly, that's only 25 cents American, but that's still a very expensive piece of kit for something so small. But if you've got a use for it and you want to enjoy it, it will, it'll rock your socks off. So, yeah. If you want to have a look at more product information, I've put a link in the description of this video to geekbuying.com. Full disclosure, they sent this in full review, which is what I'm doing. I'm reviewing it. So you can go there to the product page through the link. I don't earn a cent. It's not an affiliate link. You can buy it or you can not buy it. I don't care. It doesn't make any difference to me. I don't earn any money. If you do buy it, I've got to make it very clear that my reviews are totally objective, not based on shilling for a product and not based on trying to generate affiliate revenues. So there you go. Now, you can judge for yourself when you look at this video whether it's something that you think is worth spending your money on. I would say if you decide you do want to buy it, then why not support geekbuying.com? Always support the companies that support RCModelReviews. And if you're a manufacturer, a distributor, a retailer who's got something that you reckon's better than this, then send it to me and I will do my best to review it. And hey, it may be recommended above this thing because then I'll have frames of reference. And if you want my details, then look in the description. I'll put my address to send stuff in there and an email address you can contact me on if you need to arrange such things. Anyway, enough waffle. On with the flight video.